Hey, out in LA, Austin Reaves has turned down a 4-year, $89.2 million extension. The Lakers made the offer expecting Reaves to decline, but wanted to show interest in their guard. If Reaves chooses to opt out of the final year of his current contract, he'll be eligible for an even larger sum. So despite declining, both sides remain motivated to find a deal next summer. Tim MacMahon, we got more folks crashing our party. Joe Fortenbaugh live from Vegas, clearly evidenced by his outfit. He's set for the big UFC fight. We'll get into that a little bit later with DC and Peter Rosenberg in the building. By the way, I saw you at Fanatics, but you had already walked by me, so I didn't get to say hi. And you had your baby with you.
Oh, you know how cool you would have made me, the cred you would have given me for a Molly Qerim hello at Fanatics Fest, but I forgive you.
All right. Peter, tell me this. Do the Lakers currently have enough to be contenders?
I'm going to go with yes. And I think it's going to be very popular this offseason to talk about the demise. I see you shaking your head, Tim, all the way out there, wherever you are.
Dallas?
Dallas, exactly. And I'm not surprised to hear it, but I don't have some sort of incredible math that is my reason, Molly. My reason is you have a team that's led by LeBron James and Luka Doncic. And this year, at least, we'll have Austin Reaves. 3 great players up top, including maybe the greatest of all time and maybe the most talented offensive player in the league right now, Luka Doncic. We can all act as if it's impossible that they could get there. But we also just saw the Indiana Pacers take the Oklahoma City Thunder to 7 games. So let's not act as great as OKC is, and they are a great team. They were taken to 7 games 2 times throughout the playoffs, including, did anybody realistically think about the Indiana Pacers challenging and making it to a 7th game for the NBA Finals? So I'm sorry, no, I cannot rule out a LeBron James and Luka Doncic-led Los Angeles Lakers this year. I can't.
Tim?
Well, I got some math for you. They got bounced in 5 games in the first round by a Timberwolves team that got bounced in 5 games by the Oklahoma City Thunder. So how does that add up to the Lakers are close? Look, Luka Doncic is doing his part. He responded to J.J. Redick's subtle challenge of getting in championship shape. He looks lean right now. That's obviously a huge part. But this roster is not a contender caliber roster. Rob Pelinka's got to get that Fonzie jacket on, roll those sleeves up again, and go get Luka that lob threat that they know they need. That's why they pulled off the trade for Mark Williams before they changed their mind after taking a look at the physical. If you don't have a legitimate lob threat rim protector, you're not putting Luka and the Lakers in position to make a championship run. I don't know how they do it. I don't know who it is. Go make that move, and then we can have a conversation about whether the Lakers can challenge this OKC squad, much less the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Vegas, Joe, need you to be the tiebreaker on this one.
So the slickest thing Peter said was when he was pandering to Molly about giving him street cred at Fanatics Fest.
Yeah.
Everything after that was nice.
We go way back
incorrect.
since Hot 97 days.
But well laid out. Well laid out. I love Peter. He knows it. I'm siding with Tim here. In the modern NBA, your offense is your floor, okay? The team that ranked dead last in scoring this season would have ranked in the top 5 in the NBA in scoring 10 years ago. Everybody can score. The question is, who can get stops? Over the last 25 years, 22 NBA champions have been top 10 in defensive efficiency. 15 of those 25 champions have been top 5 in defensive efficiency. Oklahoma City, hey, look at that. Number 1 in defensive efficiency. You have to get stops if you want a chance to win in this league. Because late in the playoffs, when a team's legs start to go and everyone ratchets up the defensive intensity, you watch the shooting percentages fall off a cliff. Look at Oklahoma's shooting in the finals versus where they were in the regular season. Guys are D'ing up. You're going to have off nights. You need multiple paths to victory if you're going to win 4 and 7, and some nights that's going to include just big defensive efforts. The Lakers don't have that. Luka doesn't play D. Austin Reaves doesn't play D, which means 40% of the 5 guys on the floor aren't going to help you get stops, and ultimately that will be the Lakers' demise as currently constructed.
Peter, you want to defend yourself?
Well, listen, these are 2 very valid arguments, and I'm not going to refute that defense in this version of the NBA is a major key, and it'll be tough for the Lakers. I'll also say this, though. It's year 2 of J.J. Redick. Mm-hmm. It will be truly year 1 of J.J. Redick and Luka Doncic. We'll see what kind of shape he's able to get into. We know he's not going to become, Gary Payton overnight. I'm not expecting a Defensive Player of the Year award for Luka Doncic, but we will see what they're capable of. But I just refuse to, in this moment, and we all exist as prisoners of the moment. Right now, it feels like that was year 1 of an OKC dynasty. Let's talk about that midway through next season. We'll see.
Okay. You think that's fair, Tim, to say we're a little premature on OKC dynasty?
mean, everybody was telling me they were too soft to win a championship in the first place. They won one with a bunch of ascending talent. I don't think it'll be the last one they win. I will point this out. Luka Doncic has been part of very good defenses before. He went to the finals last year with the Mavericks. What did they do, though? They went out and drafted a big-time lob threat rim protector in Derek Lively II, and then traded for another one in Daniel Gafford. If you want to maximize Luka, you've got to get that piece. I'm not breaking news to Rob Pelinka. He knows it. He's just got to figure out the path to do it.
Joe, I'll give you the final word, then we'll go West Coast, East Coast.
The dynasty conversation is the worst thing we do as professional sports talk commentators, especially when we're not even close to actually meeting the threshold of a dynasty. It's one championship. It's a phenomenal championship. Let's let that rest for a second. Do you have any idea how hard it is just to stay healthy enough to be in contention to win a championship? We discount that. We discount health in such a spectacular fashion. 2 years ago, the Niners were in the Super Bowl. And then last year, a lot of people loved them to get back to the Super Bowl. They went from being one of the healthiest teams in the NFL to one of the unhealthiest teams in the NFL. That happens year over year. Chet Holmgren missed a bunch of games. Maybe he's healthier this year, but maybe SGA isn't. Everybody's coming for him. So the final word is going to have nothing to do with anything regarding the topic you originally set up. This is a classic Fortenbaugh swerve late in the conversation.
I love it. And
no more dynasty talk. Let's give it at least another season.
You know what, Joe? I love the sentiment right there, and I love what you just said in appreciating the moment, the championship, letting it breathe a little bit. I do this program called First Take, 240 days a year. Oh. So we will be talking about dynasties and looking forward as much as we want. I'm just letting you know. Eastern Conference. Up for grabs. Key stars such as Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard leave the door wide open for any team looking to take the next step. Yesterday on First Take, Tim MacMahon let us know which team he thinks needs to take advantage of this opportunity. Listen up, guys.
The 64-win Cavaliers are pretenders right now. They have to be labeled as pretenders when you are eliminated in the second round with the ease that they were. So there's definitely some pressure that comes along with that. They've got this core four that, and credit to them, they raised the expectations in Cleveland by rolling to those 64 wins this regular season. But there is pressure that comes along with that, especially when the playoffs were such a disappointment for Cleveland.
All right, Joe, which team do you think is under the most pressure to come out of the East now that it's wide open with all these injuries?
A bit of a surprise here, but it's the Philadelphia 76ers. This is their final shot at it. Their absolute final shot, and they have never had a better path in the Eastern Conference than what they've been given this year. The Sixers, year after year after year, disappoint everybody because they've never been good enough to get by Kawhi in Toronto or Tatum and Brown in Boston or insert any other team here that has gotten in their way over the last decade plus. The problem is they were never good enough. This year, they don't need to be good enough. Everyone else has cleared out for them. Lillard's got the Achilles in Milwaukee. Halliburton's got the Achilles in Indiana. Tatum's got the Achilles in Boston. The Knicks don't have a coach. Miami hasn't done anything of note. Cleveland's legit, but let's see if they can close when it matters. The Sixers are absolutely stacked, and they've got exactly one more shot at it, and it's never been laid out better for them than it is this year. That's why you want to buy them at 11-1 to win the East, because everyone's going to look at last year and laugh, which is what you should do. Last year was laughable, but this year has the opportunity to be different if they can stay healthy. Huge if, but the Sixers have more pressure than anybody in the East.
Yeah, Joe, I won't hit you with the haymaker just yet. I'll be nice. I'll let the guys go around, and then you know exactly what's coming.
Well, listen, Vegas, Joe, that was a very fun conversation to have at the MGM Grand Sportsbook if I was putting down a bet for who's going to win the Eastern Conference. But for talking realistically about basketball, please don't bring up the 76ers again. I'm sorry, you're right. It may be the last year of the window, and it is a great opportunity, but they have shown repeatedly they are not there. They will not be there this year. I'm not even worried about the 76ers, the team with the most pressure, and they've put a lot of it on themselves. Are right here. It's the New York Knicks, who were one game away from the finals. Well, but hear me out. First of all, of course, there's always high-level pressure on the Knicks. You can't remove that. But they're one game away from the NBA Finals and decided to chop the head off of Tom Thibodeau in front of the entire world with no coach to get, right? The only thing they knew was we cannot run this back with Tibbs. So they get rid of Tibbs, and now, let's be honest, they kind of feel like this awkward guy at the party who's like, we're not asking anybody out. We just want to know, are any of the girls single?
You know what? You know what I call it? I call it they're holding auditions right now.
Yeah,
they're like, you know what? Slide me your resume, and I'll hold some auditions.
And then we'll see. And then all of a sudden, all you keep hearing is everyone going, sorry, buddy, she's not interested. They're not interested. Nobody's looking. Meanwhile, you have this great team that you've put together. You have a city that is completely captivated. You were one game from the finals, and now everybody has an expectation you're supposed to get there. Boston's out of the way. It's completely blown up. They are taking the year off. How often do you have a dominant team in a sport that can win a conference basically every year, easier, come in second easy, that says, we're going to take this entire year off? And now the Knicks are sitting right there with, as you pointed out, Joe, no coach, but all the pressure to get it done.
Tim MacMahon, where are you headed on this one? Who's under the most pressure to win the East?
I'm sticking with the Cavs, and I'll be honest with you. The Sixers, I spent all season calling them the top Sixers because their priority was protecting their top 6 protected pick, was keeping that pick. Now it's top 4 protected. I'd say top 4, get about the Sixers having any chance as contenders. I love that Joe gave us this whole thing on staying healthy and how that's so key. Like, dude, Joel Embiid, is he ever going to play 40 games in a season again? And so I don't want to hear about them as potential contenders. The Knicks, look, they absolutely do have a lot of pressure on them. There's going to be more noise around the Knicks. Like, let's be honest, they're going to have more time on first take than the Cavaliers, that's for sure. It's a different media situation, but the Cavaliers, again, that's a team, 64 wins, and you can consider them paper tigers until they prove differently, because 64 wins, then getting bounced in the second round like they did, after firing their coach, who, by the way, also went to the second round. There's pressure on that core 4 to prove that that is a group that can contend for a championship together. And if they don't do it this year, I think there's going to have to be some significant changes in Cleveland.
All right, Joe, this is a safe space. And, I like to be honest and transparent with my First Take fam. So let's just do this, okay? Mm-hmm. Joe, where are you from?
Molly, this is irrelevant. You ask this question all the time. I'm from a region of Pennsylvania. I don't need to get into the details of the specifics, okay?
Okay, because I just dropped the mic.
I'm from Allentown, Pennsylvania, which pretty much splits the gap between New York and Philadelphia.
Mute Vegas, Joe. It's time to go to break.
I'm on fire.